Dr. Taman Park sat in his lab at 3 in the morning, staring at numbers that made no sense. The quantum communication array hummed quietly in the corner of his sole laboratory. He had been trying to boost Earth's communication range for months. Tonight, something was different. The machine started beeping faster. The display showed signals coming back from space. Not just any space, deep space. Taman rubbed his tired eyes and looked again. The signals were coming from 40 light years away. That's impossible, he whispered to himself. His equipment could barely reach Mars on a good day. The beeping changed to a steady tone. Text appeared on his screen. It was not in any human language. The symbols looked like nothing he had ever seen. They moved and shifted like living things. Taman's hands shook as he reached for his phone. He called his assistant, but stopped. Who would believe him? Instead, he started recording everything. Far across the galaxy, Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet received an alert on his command ship. A primitive signal had somehow reached their communication network. This should not be possible. Vexatar was a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and eyes that glowed purple in the dark. He had commanded fleets for over 200 years. Nothing surprised him anymore. Until now. "Show me the source," he ordered his communications officer. The main screen displayed a small yellow star with several planets around it. The third planet from the star showed signs of basic civilization. Cities glowed on the dark side of the world. Satellites moved in simple orbits. "This is a Type 0.7 civilization at best," the communications officer said. "They should not have the technology to reach our networks." Vextar studied the readings. The planet called itself Earth. Its people called themselves humans. According to the Galactic database, they had only recently learned to split atoms. They barely had fusion power. Their fastest ships used chemical rockets. Yet here they are, talking to us across 40 light years, Vextar muttered. Interesting. Meanwhile, Commander Jiwoo Kim checked her instruments one more time. The human ship Handbox Pride moved silently through space near Jupiter. Her crew of 12 had been testing their new faster-than-light drive for 3 days. The drive was not like the old fusion rockets that had carried humans to Mars. This was different. The ship did not push through space. Instead, it folded space around itself. The journey from Earth to Jupiter had taken only 6 hours. Jiwoo was proud of her ship. She had helped design the propulsion system herself. The other nations on Earth thought it would take 50 years to build such a drive. Her team in South Korea had done it in 5. "Commander, we have contacts," her sensor operator called out. 3 ships coming from the outer system. Jiwoo looked at her displays. The ships were huge, each one the size of a city. They moved with purpose toward Jupiter. Their energy signatures were completely unknown. "Are they human?" she asked. "No, Commander. The ships are using technologies we have never seen. They are not from Earth." Jiwoo felt her heart race. First contact, the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. She was about to meet aliens. The alien ships slowed as they approached Jupiter. Jiwoo could see them clearly now on her main screen. They were beautiful in a frightening way. The hulls were made of some kind of living metal that flowed like water. Energy crackled along their surfaces. "Open communication channels," Jiwoo ordered. "All frequencies." A voice filled the bridge of her ship. It spoke in a language she had never heard, but somehow she understood every word. The ship's computer was translating in real time. "Unknown vessel, you are in Zephyrian space. Identify yourself." Jiwoo took a deep breath. "This is Commander Jiwoo Kim of the Earth ship Handbox Pride. We come in peace." There was a long silence. Then the alien voice returned, sounding confused. "Earth? You are from the primitive world in Sector 7? How did you travel this distance?" Jiwoo smiled. "We built a faster-than-light drive. Would you like to see it?" Captain Hyunwoo Lee commanded the lead Zephyrian vessel, Stellar Dominion. He had seen many first-contact situations in his long career. Usually, primitive species could barely leave their home planets. They used crude rocket ships and simple radio signals. This was different. The human ship appeared on his sensors like a ghost. One moment it was there, The next, it seemed to phase in and out of normal space. His best scanners could not get clear readings. "Run a full spectrum analysis," he ordered his science officer. The results made no sense. The human ship seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. It was drawing power from sources that did not appear to exist in normal space. The energy readings were higher than those of his own advanced warship. "Captain, the human vessel is not using any technology in our database," the science officer reported. "Their power source appears to be extracting energy directly from folded space-time." Hyunwoo stared at the readings. Folded space-time manipulation was theoretical even. For the Zephyrian Empire, their best scientists had been trying to understand it for thousands of years. "How is this possible?" he asked. "Our intelligence reports show they only developed nuclear weapons 60 years ago." "I don't know, Captain. But they are somehow doing things that should be impossible for their level of development." Back on Earth, Dr. Taemin Park was still receiving messages from space. More alien voices had joined the conversation. They all seemed confused and worried about something. He had learned that his quantum communication array was not just reaching nearby space. It was connected to an entire galactic communication network used by dozens of alien civilizations. Somehow, his simple laboratory equipment had broken into their most advanced systems. The aliens kept asking how this was possible. They said Earth was supposed to be a primitive world. They had classified humans as barely capable of space travel. Taemin looked at his equipment again. It was built from parts he had bought online and theories he had developed in graduate school. Nothing about. It seemed advanced to him. It was basic quantum mechanics applied in a new way. But according to the aliens, what he had done was impossible. Their own communication technology was based on different principles. They used something called quantum entanglement across vast networks. It had taken them thousands of years to develop. Taemin had accidentally stumbled onto something better. In his small soul laboratory, he began to wonder what else humans might have developed that seemed normal to them but impossible to others. The implications made his head spin. In space, near Jupiter, the 3 Zephyrian ships maintained their distance from the Handbox Pride. Captain Hyunwoo Lee was reporting the situation to Admiral Vex Tar. "The human ship defies analysis," he reported. "Every time we scan it, we get different readings. It appears to exist in 7 dimensions simultaneously." "That is impossible," Admiral Vex Tar replied. "Even our most advanced ships only operate in 4 dimensions." "Yes, sir. But somehow they are doing it, and they seem to consider it normal." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "Maintain observation distance. Do not take any hostile actions. I am sending a diplomatic team." "Understood, sir." As the communication ended, Hyunwoo Lee looked at the human ship with new eyes. Perhaps the galaxy was about to change in ways no one expected. Dr. So-Young Chang packed her equipment carefully into the transport containers. The meeting would take place on Kepler 442b, a neutral moon that both humans and the Galactic Council had agreed upon. She was Earth's chief xenotechnology specialist, though she had never imagined she would actually meet aliens. The Zephyrian Empire had requested a formal demonstration of human technology. They wanted to understand how Earth had developed faster than light travel so quickly. So-Young had been chosen to show them what humans could do. She looked at her equipment one more time. The force field generator was her newest creation. She had built it in her garage using principles from her doctoral thesis. To her, it was a simple defensive tool. She hoped the aliens would find it interesting. The human delegation traveled to Kepler 442b aboard the Handbox Pride. Commander Ji-Woo Kim had volunteered her ship for the mission. The journey took only 4 hours, even though the moon was 8 light years from Earth. Engineer Dong-Hyun Choi worked quietly in the ship's engine room during the flight. He was checking the backup propulsion system. The main FTL drive was working perfectly, but Earth's safety protocols required all ships to have emergency backup systems. Dong-Hyun had designed the backup system himself. It worked differently from the main drive. Instead of folding space, it created temporary holes in reality that the ship could slip through. He called it emergency propulsion because it was only meant to be used if the main system failed. When they arrived at Kepler 442b, the human delegation found an impressive setup waiting for them. The Galactic Council had built a large meeting facility on the moon's surface. Dozens of alien species had come to watch the demonstration. Ambassador Yoon led the human team off the ship. She was a career diplomat who had spent years preparing for first contact. Now that it was actually happening, she felt surprisingly calm. The aliens were more diverse than she had expected. Some looked almost human, while others were completely different. There were beings made of living crystal, creatures that floated in the air, and entities that seemed to be made of pure energy. Admiral Vextar greeted the human delegation personally. His forearms moved in what she guessed was a formal salute. His purple eyes studied the humans with obvious curiosity. "Welcome to Kepler 442b," he said through the universal translator. "We are eager to learn about your remarkable achievements." "Thank you for arranging this meeting," Yunji replied. "We hope this will be the beginning of peaceful relations between our peoples." Dr. So-Young Chang set up her equipment in the demonstration area. The aliens watched every move she made. Their scanning devices hummed and clicked as they analyzed her tools. "This is a basic defensive system we use on our exploration ships," she explained. "It creates a protective barrier around the vessel." She activated the force field generator. A shimmering dome of energy appeared around the demonstration platform. To So-Young, it looked normal. She had tested similar fields hundreds of times in her laboratory. The alien scientists immediately began taking measurements. Their equipment started beeping frantically. Several of the aliens began talking excitedly in their own languages. Dr. Kethavar, the Galactic Council's chief scientist, approached So-Young with obvious confusion in his many-eyed face. "Dr. Chang, our instruments indicate that your force field is not simply deflecting energy and matter. It appears to exist partially, outside of normal space-time. How is this possible?" So-Young checked her readings. Everything looked normal to her. "The field creates a stable pocket of altered space around the protected area. It's based on dimensional folding theory. I thought all advanced civilizations would use similar technology." The alien scientist's translator made strange sounds as it tried to process her words. "Dimensional folding theory? We have been studying such concepts for millennia. Our greatest minds consider it purely theoretical." "Oh," So-Young said. "Well, the math works out if you approach it from quantum mechanics instead of classical physics. I can show you the equations if you're interested." Dr. Kethvar's eyes widened. Several other alien scientists gathered around to listen. Meanwhile, engineer Donghyun Choi was demonstrating the Hanbok's Pride's propulsion systems. A group of alien engineers surrounded him as he explained how the ship's FTL drive worked. "The main drive folds space around the ship," he explained. "It's very efficient for long-distance travel, but for emergencies we have this backup system." He led them to the secondary engine room. The backup propulsion system looked much smaller and simpler than the main drive. The alien engineers seemed puzzled by its design. "What does this system do?" asked Engineer Zixmore from the Andromedan Republic. "If the main drive fails, this creates temporary holes in reality," Donghyun said. "The ship can travel through folded dimensions until the main system is repaired. It's not as comfortable as normal FTL, but it works." The alien engineer's translator made several error sounds before managing to process his words. "You create holes in reality? As a backup system?" "Sure," Donghyun replied. "It's basic emergency engineering. Every ship should have multiple ways to get home safely." Zixmore looked at his colleagues with what appeared to be panic in his expression. Creating holes in reality was something their most advanced physics department said might be theoretically possible in a few thousand years. Ambassador Yoon watched the demonstrations with growing awareness that something unusual was happening. The aliens seemed shocked by technology that humans considered routine. She approached Admiral Vexitar, who was studying readings from his science teams with obvious concern. "Admiral, is there a problem with our demonstrations?" she asked. Vexitar looked at her with his glowing purple eyes. "Ambassador Yoon, our scientists are having difficulty understanding your technology. You describe these as basic defensive measures and emergency systems, but our analysis suggests they operate on principles we consider impossible." "Impossible?" Yoonji asked. "But they're just standard safety features. Every human ship has similar systems." "Every ship?" Vextar's forearms moved in what she was learning meant surprise. "How long has humanity possessed such technology?" Yoonji thought about it. "The basic theories have been around for about 50 years. The practical applications started maybe 20 years ago. Dr. Chang's force field technology is only 5 years old. Admiral Vextar was quiet for a long moment, then he spoke carefully. Ambassador, the force field your scientist has demonstrated would require the combined scientific knowledge of our entire civilization to create. And we are not sure we could actually build it even with that knowledge. But it's just a defensive barrier, Yunji said. We have much more advanced technology on Earth. We brought our simplest equipment for this demonstration. The Admiral's expression changed to something that might have been fear. Dr. So-Young Chang finished her demonstration by showing the aliens how to adjust the force field's properties. She could make it selectively permeable, allowing certain types of matter or energy to pass through while blocking others. This is useful for scientific research, she explained. You can study dangerous phenomena while staying completely safe. The alien scientists watched in silence as she demonstrated the field's ability to stop energy weapons, physical projectiles, and even exotic radiation. Several of them began whispering urgently to each other. Engineer Dong-hyun Choi completed his propulsion system tour by casually mentioning that the backup drive could also be used to travel sideways through time if properly calibrated. Time travel? Asked Engineer Zixmore. Not really time travel, Dong-hyun corrected. More like temporal displacement. You can move the ship a few minutes forward or backward in time to avoid collisions or dangerous situations. It's a safety feature. The alien engineer sat down heavily on a nearby bench. His colleagues gathered around him, apparently checking, to make sure he was still functioning. As the demonstration day ended, the human delegation prepared to return to their ship. They felt the meetings had gone well. The aliens had seemed very interested in their technology. Ambassador Yoonji Yoon thanked Admiral Vextar for hosting the event. We look forward to future cooperation between our civilizations, she said. Admiral. Vextar managed a formal response, but his mind was reeling. The humans had casually demonstrated technology that surpassed the combined capabilities of the entire Galactic Council, and they claimed this was their basic, simple equipment. What did humanity consider advanced technology? As the Handbox Pride departed Kepler 442b, using what the humans called their routine emergency propulsion system, Admiral Vextar called an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The galaxy, he realized, was about to change forever. Dr. Min-Ho Song was having coffee with 3 alien physicists when he accidentally changed the course of galactic history. The meeting was supposed to be a casual discussion about power generation methods. The humans had been invited to share their experiences with fusion reactors and solar collectors. Min-Ho taught quantum physics at Busan National University. He had come to the cultural exchange program because he was curious about how other civilizations solved their energy problems. He expected to learn about advanced fusion techniques or maybe efficient antimatter reactors. Dr. Vorth from the Crystalline Consortium was explaining their solar collection methods when Min-Ho mentioned that Earth had moved beyond those systems. Years ago, we used to rely on fusion and solar power, Min-Ho said, stirring his coffee. But once we figured out pocket universe reactors, those old methods became obsolete. The 3 alien scientists stopped talking. Dr. Vorth's crystal body began glowing brighter, which Min-Ho had learned meant excitement or stress. Pocket universe reactors? Asked Dr. Nethys from the Silicon Collective. What do you mean by that? Min-Ho realized he had their attention. Oh, you know, small artificial universes that exist parallel to ours. We extract energy from the dimensional barriers between them and normal space. Seoul alone has about 40 of them powering the city. Grid! The alien physicists stared at him in complete silence. Min-Ho began to feel uncomfortable. Is that unusual? He asked. Dr. Vorth's glow became so bright that Min-Ho had to squint. Dr. Song, parallel universe theory is one of our most advanced theoretical frameworks. We have been studying it for over 10,000 years. Creating artificial parallel dimensions is beyond our capabilities. But it's just applied quantum mechanics, Min-Ho said. The math is straightforward once you understand dimensional folding. I teach it to undergraduate students. Dr. Nethys made a sound that the translator rendered as complete bewilderment. You teach parallel universe creation to students? Well, the theory part, Min-Ho clarified. They don't get to build actual pocket universes until graduate school. That requires safety certification. Meanwhile, In another part of the cultural exchange facility, Major Sujin Park was giving a demonstration of Earth's military equipment to a group of alien defense specialists. She had been asked to show them standard human soldier equipment. Sujin wore her regular combat armor, the same type issued to all Earth Defense Corps personnel. To her, it was just work clothing. The aliens studied it with instruments that beeped and clicked constantly. "This is basic infantry protection gear," she explained. "Every human soldier has similar equipment. General Thayek's not of the hegemony. Defense forces examined the armor with obvious confusion. Major Park, our sensors cannot determine what materials your armor is made from. It appears to exist in multiple phases of matter simultaneously." "That's the phase shift capability," Sujin said. "The armor can become intangible to avoid enemy fire, then solidify instantly for impact protection. It's standard defensive technology," she demonstrated by walking through a solid wall. The aliens watched in stunned silence as she passed through. The barrier, like it wasn't there, then became solid again on the other side. "How is this possible?" asked Commander Velcris from the Hive Mind Collective. "Quantum phase manipulation," Sujin replied. "The armor temporarily shifts the wearer into a parallel phase state. You can interact with normal matter when you choose, but energy weapons and physical attacks pass right through you." She activated her armor's other features. Hard-light constructs appeared around her. Tools, weapons, and shields made from pure energy but solid to the touch. A localized gravity field allowed her to walk up walls and across the ceiling. "These are just the basic features," she said, hanging upside down from the ceiling while the gravity field kept her equipment from falling. "The armor also has environmental control, enhanced strength amplification, and emergency medical systems." General Thayek's not sat down heavily. In his long military career, he had never seen technology that could match what this human soldier wore as routine equipment. Her armor seemed to violate several fundamental laws of physics. "Major, what would you consider advanced military technology?" he asked. "Advanced?" Sujin thought about it. "Well, we have powered exoskeletons for heavy combat, reality anchor, fields for dimensional warfare, and temporal displacement devices for special operations, but those require additional training to use safely." The alien military officers began talking urgently among themselves in their native languages. Across the facility, scientist Jae-hyun Ko was working with the Galactic Council's communication specialists. They had asked him to help upgrade their quantum entanglement network, which connected civilizations across the galaxy. Jae-hyun examined their system with polite interest. The network used quantum-entangled particles to send messages instantly across vast distances. It was elegant technology, but limited. "This is a good foundation," he said to Chief Engineer Korthmal. "But you can only send messages to locations where you physically placed entangled particles. That must take thousands of years to establish new connections." "Yes," Korthmal agreed. "Expanding the network requires sending ships to new locations with quantum entanglement devices. It is very slow." "Have you tried multi-dimensional communication?" Jae-hyun asked. "It's much more flexible." The alien engineer's tentacles twitched with confusion. "Multi-dimensional communication? Sure. Instead of using entangled particles in normal space, you create communication channels through parallel dimensions. Since the parallel dimensions exist everywhere simultaneously, you can talk to anyone, anywhere, instantly. No need to physically place equipment first." Jae-hyun pulled out his personal communication device. It looked like a simple tablet computer to him, but the alien's instruments went crazy when he activated it. "Watch," he said. "I'll call my daughter. On Earth." The device connected instantly across 8 light years. His daughter, Hae-young, appeared on the screen in real time, waving from her apartment in Seoul. "Hi, Dad. How's the alien meeting going?" "Very well. I'm showing them our communication technology." The alien engineers stared at the screen. According to their understanding of physics, real-time communication across interstellar distances should be impossible. Even quantum entanglement had limits. "Dad, I have to go to class," Hae-young said. "Tell the aliens I said hello." She ended the call. Jae-hyun put his tablet away and looked at the shocked alien engineers. "The call quality is perfect regardless of distance," he explained. "We can communicate in real time with anyone in the galaxy. The multidimensional channels exist outside normal space-time, so they're not limited by light speed." Chief Engineer Korthmal made a sound that the translator couldn't process. Several of his colleagues were running diagnostic tests on their own equipment, apparently convinced it was malfunctioning. Mr. Ko, Korthmal finally managed to say, what you just demonstrated should be theoretically impossible. How long has humanity possessed this technology? About 15 years for the practical applications, Jae-hyun replied. The basic theories are older. My professor developed the initial framework when I was in graduate school. One person developed this? Well, he had help from his research team. But yes, it started as a university research project. Most of our communication technology comes from academic research. Back in the coffee area, Dr. Min-ho Song was trying to explain pocket universe reactors to the increasingly distressed alien physicists. He had drawn diagrams on napkins and was walking them through the basic mathematical principles. You create a small parallel universe with different physical constants, he explained. Then you build dimensional bridges between that universe and normal space. The difference in energy states between the two universes generates power. How many of these reactors does Earth have? Asked Dr. Vorth. I'm not sure exactly. Every major city has several. Most university campuses have at least one for research purposes. I think there are probably a few thousand in operation globally. The alien scientists sat in stunned silence. A few thousand pocket universes created as casual power sources for cities and schools. Don't you worry about dimensional stability? Asked Dr. Nethys. Oh, we have safety protocols for that, Min-ho said. Each reactor has automatic shutdown systems and dimensional stabilizers. If anything goes wrong, the pocket universe just collapses, safely back into normal space. It's very safe technology. He paused, seeing their expressions. Is there something wrong with that approach? Dr. Vorth's glow had dimmed to almost nothing. Dr. Song, creating even one stable parallel universe would be the greatest scientific achievement in our civilization's history. You say you have thousands of them running as routine power sources. Well, when you put it that way, it does sound impressive, Min-ho admitted. But honestly, the hardest part was getting the safety regulations approved. The government was worried about dimensional accidents. That evening, the alien delegates held emergency meetings. The human technology they had witnessed during casual conversations and routine demonstrations was beyond anything they had imagined possible. Admiral Vextar received reports from all the cultural exchange sessions. Every interaction with humans had revealed technology that seemed to violate known laws of physics. Individual human soldiers wore equipment. Admiral Young-Soo Nam stood on the bridge of the Soul's Dream, watching the Zephyrian fleet approach Earth. 50 alien warships had arrived at the edge of the solar system, demanding answers about human technology. The Galactic Council wanted to know how a primitive civilization had developed capabilities that surpassed their own. Young-Soo commanded Earth's deep space fleet. His ship was one of 12 vessels that protected humanity's home system. To human eyes, the fleet looked impressive. To the approaching aliens, it should have been laughably small. But the alien fleet had stopped at the edge of the solar system. They maintained a respectful distance, as if they were afraid to come closer. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the lead Zephyrian vessel, reported Communications Officer Hya-Jin Lee. Put them through. Admiral Vextar's image appeared. On the main screen, his 4 arms moved in what Young-Soo had learned was a formal salute. Admiral Nam, I request permission to enter your solar system with a diplomatic mission. We wish to discuss the capabilities that your people have demonstrated. Young-Soo studied the alien fleet through his ship's sensors. 50 powerful warships, each one capable of destroying cities. But they were asking permission to enter human space, not demanding it. Permission granted, Admiral Vextar, but I'm curious. Why do you maintain such a large escort for a diplomatic mission? Vextar's purple eyes flickered with what might have been embarrassment. We were unsure what defenses your system might have. Our previous encounters with human technology have been educational. Young-Soo smiled. The aliens were afraid. They had seen human ships phase through normal space and human soldiers walk through walls. Now they weren't sure what Earth might be capable of defending itself with. Admiral, before you enter our system, there's something you should know, Young-Soo said. Earth isn't humanity's origin world. The statement hung in space between the two fleets. Admiral Vextar's expression changed to confusion. What do you mean? Earth is what we call a vacation planet, a place where humans who enjoy three-dimensional space choose to live. Our actual civilization exists primarily in parallel dimensions. Dr. Hyarin Lim had been listening to the conversation from her station on the bridge. As director of Earth's Dimensional Research Institute, she had been asked to help explain humanity's true nature to the aliens. "Admiral Vextar," she said, stepping into view of the communication screen. "The humans you've met are essentially our explorers and researchers. We live on Earth because we find normal space interesting to study." "Parallel dimensions?" Vextar repeated. "Yes. About 200 years ago, we discovered how to manipulate the fundamental forces that shape reality. What you call impossible violations of physics are simply different ways of approaching engineering problems." Hyarin activated a holographic display that showed the dimensional structure around Earth. To her, it was a basic diagram. To the aliens watching, it revealed something that shattered their understanding of the universe. "Earth exists at the intersection of 17 different dimensional layers," she explained. "Most of human civilization exists in these parallel spaces. We have cities, universities, and research facilities spread across multiple dimensions." Admiral Vextar stared at the display. "How many humans are there?" "That's hard to calculate," Hyarin admitted. "Population counts get complicated when you include parallel dimensions, but probably somewhere around 50 billion people, spread across various dimensional layers." 50 billion? Vextar's voice cracked. "Oh, that's just the ones living near Earth," she said. "We have other population centers throughout the galaxy. Most of them exist in dimensional space that intersects with normal space only occasionally." The implications hit Admiral Vextar like a physical blow. Humanity wasn't a small civilization confined to one planet. They were a vast, multi-dimensional society with technology that could reshape reality itself. Emperor Thexmor of the Zephyrian Empire received Admiral Vextar's report while sitting in his throne room on the capital world. The news was worse than he had feared. The humans weren't just technologically advanced. They were something entirely beyond the Zephyrian understanding of what civilization could be. They lived in parallel dimensions and considered the manipulation of reality to be routine engineering. "How many humans are there in normal space?" he asked. "Unknown, Emperor. They claim to have population centers throughout the galaxy, but most exist in dimensions we cannot detect or access." Emperor Thexmor had ruled the galaxy's most powerful civilization for over 300 years. His empire controlled thousands of star systems and dozens of species. For the first time in his long reign, he felt truly afraid. "What do they want?" "That's unclear, Emperor. They seem genuinely interested in peaceful contact. But their casual demonstrations of power suggest they could dominate the entire galaxy if they chose to." On Earth, Dr. Hyarin Lim continued her explanation to the assembled alien delegates. Representatives from dozens of civilizations had come to hear humanity's revelations. "Our dimensional engineering isn't really that complicated," she said. "Reality is more flexible than most species realize. Instead of working within the constraints of normal space-time, we learn to modify those constraints to suit our needs." She gestured, and the air around her shimmered. For a moment, the alien delegates could see through into other dimensional layers. Cities floated in impossible geometries. Beings moved through spaces that folded back on themselves. Technologies operated on principles that had no names in any known language. "This is just one of our research dimensions," she explained. "We use it to test new approaches to physics and engineering." Dr. Kethvar of the Galactic Council spoke up from the audience. "Dr. Lim, how long have humans possessed these capabilities?" The basic understanding came about 200 years ago when Dr. Park Sung-ho developed the initial theories of dimensional manipulation. Practical applications began about 150 years ago. Large-scale dimensional engineering has been routine for about 100 years. The alien scientists sat in stunned silence. One human, working alone, had developed theories that surpassed the combined knowledge of their entire galactic civilization. "Dr. Park worked alone?" asked Dr. Kethvar. "Oh no, he had a research team of about 12 people. They were studying quantum mechanics at Seoul National University. The dimensional manipulation theories grew out of their work on applied physics problems. 12 people. A university research team had accidentally discovered how to rewrite the laws of reality. General Thyax, not of the Hegemony Defense Forces, raised his hand. Dr. Lim, what would humanity consider to be a serious military threat? Hierin thought about the question carefully. That's hard to answer. Our defensive systems operate in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Traditional weapons that exist only in normal space can't affect our protected facilities. What about your own weapons? We don't really have weapons in... President Jin A.O. sat in her office in Seoul, reading the formal invitation from the Galactic Empire. The document was beautifully crafted, written on what appeared to be living metal that shifted and flowed as she read. The words were diplomatic and polite, but she could read between the lines. The Empire wanted to contain humanity. The invitation spoke of partnership and mutual cooperation, but the terms were clear. Humans would be welcomed into the galactic community as junior partners. They would share their technology with the Empire in exchange for protection and guidance from more experienced civilizations. Jin A had been Earth's president for 6 years. She had guided humanity through its first steps into space, the development of dimensional technology, and now first contact with alien civilizations. She knew a trap when she saw one. She called for General Seok Jin Ryu, commander of Earth's defense forces. General, what's your assessment of the situation? Seok Jin had been studying intelligence reports from the alien fleets gathering at the edge of the solar system. More ships arrived every day. Some came from civilizations that claimed to be peaceful observers. Others made no such claims. Madam President, we're looking at approximately 300 alien vessels positioned around our system. They maintain respectful distances, but their intentions are unclear. Are we in danger? Not from direct attack, Seok Jin replied. But I believe they're planning some form of blockade. They want to prevent us from expanding beyond Earth until we agree to their terms. Jin-A looked out her office window at the Seoul skyline. The city existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously now. Buildings phased between parallel realities, connected by bridges that existed in folded space. To her, it looked like home. To the aliens, it probably looked like magic. What are our options? We could demonstrate our actual defensive capabilities, Seok Jin suggested. Show them why a blockade won't work. That evening, several alien fleets moved into position around Earth's solar system. Admiral Vextar commanded the operation from his flagship. The plan was simple: establish a peaceful but firm blockade that would encourage humanity to negotiate. 300 ships from 17 different civilizations formed a perimeter around the solar system. No human ships would be allowed to leave until humanity agreed to join the Galactic Empire under acceptable terms. Admiral Vextar felt confident about the operation. Humans might have advanced technology, but they were still confined to one star system. The combined alien fleets represented the military might of half the galaxy. At exactly midnight, Seoul time, General Seok Jin Ryu activated Earth's real defensive systems. The first thing the alien fleets noticed was that space around them began behaving strangely. Their navigation instruments stopped working properly. Stars appeared in wrong positions. Some ships found themselves flying in circles without changing course. "Report!" Admiral Vextar demanded. "Sir, local space-time appears to be altered," his science officer replied. "We're detecting massive dimensional distortions throughout the system." On Admiral Vextar's main screen, space itself seemed to twist. Reality folded and unfolded in patterns that hurt to look at. Several alien ships found themselves trapped in small loops of space, flying the same trajectory over and over despite their best efforts to break free. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth," the communications officer reported. General Seok Jin Ryu's image appeared on the screen. He looked calm and professional. "Admiral Vextar, I hope your ships are not experiencing any difficulties. Our defensive systems are designed to be non-harmful. Your vessels are simply temporarily isolated in recursive space-time loops until this situation can be resolved peacefully." "What have you done?" Vexatar demanded. "We've activated reality anchor fields around your fleets. Each ship is now existing in a small pocket of folded space-time. You can move freely within your assigned pocket, but you cannot leave until we allow it." Admiral Vextar checked his instruments. His mighty flagship, along with the entire blockade fleet, had been effortlessly trapped by human technology that operated on principles he couldn't even understand. "How long will this last?" "As long as necessary for peaceful negotiations," Seok Jin replied. "Your crews are in no danger. Time flows normally within each pocket. You have full life support and communication capabilities. When you're ready to discuss cooperation rather than containment, we'll release your ships." The transmission ended. Admiral Vextar found himself in command of 300 trapped alien vessels, captured without a single shot being fired. Ambassador Yan Ho Seo prepared for the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. The Galactic Council had agreed to emergency negotiations after their blockade attempt failed so spectacularly. The meeting would take place on a neutral station in the Centauri system. Representatives from every major galactic civilization would attend. They wanted to understand what humanity really wanted. Yan Ho had been Earth's chief diplomat for 15 years. He had negotiated trade agreements, territorial disputes, and technological exchanges. But he had never dealt with beings who could manipulate reality itself. Wait, that wasn't right. He was human. He was one of the beings who could manipulate reality. The irony wasn't lost on him as he boarded the transport ship Poussin's journey for the trip to Centauri. He was going to negotiate with aliens who were afraid of his species' impossible technology. Dr. He Wan Jiang accompanied him as Earth's scientific representative. She was the lead theoretical physicist at the Seoul Institute for Advanced Reality Studies. Her job was to help the aliens understand that human technology wasn't threatening, it was just different. The meeting station at Centauri was impressive. It had been built specifically for this conference, using the combined technologies of dozens of alien civilizations. Gravity fields created artificial environments suitable for different species. Translation systems handled hundreds of languages simultaneously. To human eyes, it was a nice example of conventional engineering. When Ambassador Yan Ho Seo entered the main conference chamber, he found himself facing representatives from 43 different civilizations. The room buzzed with nervous energy as the aliens waited to hear what humanity wanted from the galaxy. Emperor Thexmore of the Zephyrian Empire spoke first. "Ambassador Seo, your species has demonstrated capabilities that surpass our understanding. We wish to know your intentions regarding the galactic community." Yan Ho stood and addressed the assembly. "Our intentions are simple. We want to be friends." The translation systems struggled with the concept. Several alien languages apparently didn't have direct equivalents for friends in a diplomatic context. "You want friendship?" asked President Kelvar of the Democratic Confederation. "Yes, we're curious about other species and cultures. We'd like to learn about your art, your philosophy, your ways of thinking about the universe. In return, we're happy to share our own perspectives." "What about technology transfer?" demanded General Vorthak of the military coalition. "We can share some technologies that might be useful," Yan Ho replied. "But honestly, most of our technology requires ways of thinking about reality that might be difficult for other species to adopt." Dr. Hai Wan Jiang stood up to elaborate. "The issue isn't that we want to keep secrets. It's that our technology is based on fundamental approaches to physics that other civilizations haven't developed." She activated a small demonstration device. The air in front of her shimmered, and suddenly the conference room extended into 7 additional dimensions. The alien delegates found themselves able to see and move through spaces that folded back on themselves in impossible ways. "This is a simple dimensional extension," she explained. "To us, it's like opening a door. But it requires thinking about space and time as malleable concepts rather than fixed constraints." The alien representatives explored the extended dimensional space with wonder and terror. They were experiencing geometry that their minds told them should be impossible. "We could teach these techniques," Haiwan continued, "but it might require your civilizations to completely rebuild their understanding of reality. That's not something that can be imposed from outside. It has to be chosen." Emperor Thexmore spoke carefully. "What would you want in return for teaching us?" "Cultural exchange," Yeon Ho said immediately. "We want to learn about how you see the universe, your art, your music, your literature, your philosophy. We're particularly interested in how different species think about consciousness and meaning." "That's all?" "That's everything," Yeon Ho replied. "We have enough technology. What we want is friendship and understanding." The alien delegates conferred among themselves in dozens of languages. The concept of a technologically superior civilization that wanted nothing more than friendship was difficult for them to process. Dr. Haiwan Jiang made one final demonstration. She pulled out a device that looked like a simple crystal to human eyes, but made the alien instruments go wild with impossible readings. "This is what we consider our greatest achievement," she said. "It's not a weapon or a tool. It's a consciousness interface that allows different types of minds to truly understand each other." She activated the device. Suddenly, every being in the conference room could feel what it was like to think as every other being present. The humans experienced the crystalline logic of the silicon.